So that's why Ms. Dauphin and Mr. Turner are here. We're going to split off into 3 groups. So some of you guys are going to stay in this Google Meet with me. Some of you guys are going to go to a Google Meet with Mr. Turner. And some of you guys are going to go to a Google Meet with Ms. Dauphin. We're all going to be reading the same story and doing the same activities, just in smaller groups, so that maybe it'll, I don't know, we're going to see how it works and see how it goes. So I'm going to present my screen. I have the list of groups pulled up. All right, let me zoom in a little bit. So we have 3 groups here. The ones that are with me are going to stay in this meet. You won't have to type in any code or anything to leave. That'll be Juliana, Bradford, Jada, Liliana, Alex, Elijah Barton, Gabriel, and Phil. So you guys will stay with me. The ones that are going to go to Ms. Daphne are going to open a Google Meet, type in the code, that's her name, which she'll put in the chat too, so you can copy and paste it. You don't have to try and type and spell her name. But that'll be Gabriella, Cheyenne, Madi, Kylon, Charlie, Laren, Skylar, and Olivia. And then again, the ones that are with Mr. Turner are going to open a separate Google Meet, type in the code Turner, and it'll be Yoshi, Tatum, Michaela, Elijah Faber, Alani, Felicia, and Dallin. So you'll split off into those groups, and we'll read the same story, do the same stuff, just with separate teachers. Okay? Does this make sense, how we're going to get over there? You're going to open a Google Meet. So if I show you, you're going to open up a new tab and type in Google Meet. If you're in a separate Google Meet, click on it. And then you will join whichever meeting. So if you're going to Mr. Turner's meeting, you'll type in Turner and hit continue, and you'll join that meeting. If you're going to Ms. Dauphin, you'll type in Ms. Dauphin's name and go to that meeting. Did I spell it right, Ms. Dauphin? Alrighty.
So do we leave this one?
Yeah, if you're in a different one, go ahead and head over to the other ones.
And then do we come back here at the end of it?
Nope. At the end of it, you are just going to head out, and I'll see you guys at math at 10:30.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
There's your tips. I'm going to leave this up on my screen for a minute while you guys go over there. Plug in these things. Where does it plug in? There we go.
Oh, okay. Those of you guys that are still here, can you hear me? Yes, no?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. It's weird with headphones on. All right, so Juliana, you're with me. Who else?
Miss Jones, do I just log off of this one?
Are you on the other one with Mr. Turner?
No, this one that I'm on right now.
I know you are in Mr. Turner's group, so did you go over to his Google Meet? Oh, he left. Okay, cool. Let's see. Charlie is with Miss Daphne. Charlie, you still here? Nope. Okay. Cool. I think it's just the 4 of us then. These headphones are very uncomfortable. Can all of you guys hear me? You all there?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So we are going to read a new story today. It is on Google Classroom. Cool. And it is under ELA called Michaela DePrince. So go ahead and go on over there, open up this new story we're going to work on today. All right. So when it opens up, it should look like this one. I feel like I'm talking very quiet. It's weird. I don't like having headphones on. All right. Let me know when you guys are here so we could just hop on in and get going.
I'm there.
Cool. What about the rest of you guys? Phil, Alex, Bradford? How you guys doing?
I'm there.
Cool. Cool. Jada, you're in our group anyway, so this works out perfectly. What we're doing is opening up our new story called Michaela DePrince, and we're just going to work on that in small groups. So you're in this group, so you're all good. Just go ahead and open that one up. So, since most of you guys are there, let's go ahead and get started. Background information here. We have, well, the story is called Michaela DePrince, the war orphan who became a ballerina. It's written by William Kramer, and it's a magazine article, but they pull it and put it in our online stuff. So, from 1991 to 2002, Sierra Leone went through a violent civil war, and during this decade, life in Sierra Leone was extremely dangerous due to a near complete lack of law in the country. And we've talked recently about the lack of laws and how that kind of just creates chaos. So you can kind of imagine that happening about 30 years ago, 20 to 30 years ago. It's not that long ago, so it creates a violent war in that country. There's tens of thousands of people that lost their lives and countless families that were torn apart. Children who lost their parents during the war became known as war orphans. So that's kind of the basis of this story, that this woman, or she was a little girl at the time, Michaela DePrince, was a child in Sierra Leone when all this was happening, and she's categorized as a war orphan. And in this article, the author is William Kramer. He's a feature writer in the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, which is a major radio, television, and media company. Okay, so he just wrote the story basically. I'm gonna close this part up here. I've already read the story. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. So what we're gonna do today is some sections in the making meaning part. Let's start with a little bit of concept vocab over here. Just to go over a couple of things that you're going to see in the story. We still with me? Doing good? I'll take that as yes. Good. Alrighty, so let's talk about some vocabulary here. You're going to encounter these three words: antagonism, refugee, and distraught. We can use context clues to figure out what they mean. Using context clues means that you're going to use the words around it. So if we look over to the left, we can see she still recalls the fierce antagonism of the woman. We can look at words around it, read the whole, what's it called? Paragraph, and see what these words mean and all that stuff. So you can always just look around, see what you think the words mean. The good thing about this article is that it tells you what words mean, which is great about this program. So let's go ahead and look at these couple of words down here and fill out what these words mean. So our first one is antagonism. Have any of you guys ever heard that word before? Antagonism? Yes, no? Antagonism? Nope. No? A couple of you guys have heard it, a couple of you guys have not. All right. So, antagonism, if we look at it and we open up the word, because remember it's highlighted, so we can always just click on it. Antagonism means that you're being hostile or rude or mean. Like, you're just consistently mean to these people. So, to antagonize someone means that you're mean to them. So, antagonism means that you're always hostile and always mean. So, let's go ahead and write that down in here. Antagonism means you're hostile or mean to people. Okay. I'll give you a second to type those ones out. Also, Olivia, we're doing small group stuff, so you're just going to hang out in this group and just keep going with us. Cool? Cool. All right. Let's look at our next word. The next one you're going to see is refugee. This one I think you guys might have heard before. It's kind of a one that we're hearing a lot lately. Have you guys ever heard the word refugee? Like refugee from a different country? Yeah. And I'm not opposed to hearing your voices either. You're more than welcome to unmute. So good. I think this one, we hear a lot about refugees lately because of wars in different countries and people needing to come to find a safe place. So that's essentially what a refugee is. It's someone who tries to get out of another country to escape danger, especially during a time of war. So right now, and if we have time, we'll actually talk about this. Right now, there's a major war happening in Syria. And there's a lot of Syrian refugees around the world right now. People in Syria are escaping to get away from danger. These are people from other countries escaping the dangers of war. So they're just trying to get out so that they're not killed during this war, even though they're just like trying to live in the country and not die. Okay, I'll give you a minute to type that one out. Hey, Michaela, we are reading a story. It's on Google Classroom called Michaela DePrince. Same name, spelled differently though. And we opened it up and we're just talking about some of the concept vocabulary that you're going to see. So if you can, hopefully it opens and loads for you. And we're just kind of doing it in small groups. So you're more than welcome to just stay here in our group and work on it with us. Sound good? And Laren, stay here. Small group, we're working on the Michaela DePrince one. Okay. Alrighty. So Michaela DePrince, let's talk about our last vocab word here, distraught. This one you might have heard before, you might have not. Distraught is going to be, it's an emotion. If someone is distraught, what do you guys think it could be? I'm distraught. What ideas do you have?
Angry or sad.
Okay, angry or sad, lost. Any other ideas? No? You guys are all kind of on the right track there. Distraught is essentially like you're just so not good, like super troubled, really unhappy, sad, angry all the time, kind of lost to where you need to be going. So all of those are pretty good. So sad, angry, unhappy, lost. So it's just like a really strong emotion of not being happy, essentially. It's kind of sad. It's not a good emotion to have. Okay. You gave you guys just a second to write those down, and then we are going to do the first read where we actually read our story, finally. When you guys are ready to go on, just let me know. Okay. All right, looks like we're finishing up here. I'm gonna leave this up so you guys can keep going. So I'm gonna scroll down just a little bit actually. We are gonna look at this first read part next, and just like every other story that we've done the first read on, there is a chart to open up. So that chart opens up and it has notice, annotate, what are the other ones? Connect and respond. So in the notice box, as we read, you can type out things that you might notice about the story, who it's about, what it's about, things along those lines. The annotate box just means that as you're reading, maybe you highlight something that seems really important to you, or something that you find interesting, or maybe something that's confusing that we can go back and talk about later. The connect part of the box, so I'll just open it up. So we have our notice where it's what is it about, who is it about. Annotating is marking up the passage about things you want to talk about. The connect box down here is about connecting it to maybe your own childhood if you can, or to other stories that we've read, but just finding any sort of connection out in the world that you can connect to this story to. And then responding is doing the comprehension check and writing a short summary. So we'll do these after we read the story. So I'm going to close this up and we're going to go ahead and read it. So I'm going to try and play it and we'll see if you guys can hear it. If not, I will read it to you, but I'm going to play it and let me know if you guys can even hear it. Did you guys hear it at all? No?
Nope.
Okay, I'll read it to you. I think that it only goes through my headphones because I have headphones in. So I will read it out loud to you guys and go from there. All right, so let's read this. Go ahead and follow along. You can be filling out that chart as we read if you want to. I'll give you a few minutes after to fill out the chart too. So it says, a professional stage debut is a huge event in the life of any ballerina, but Michaela DePrince's recent tour of South Africa also marked the end of an extraordinary journey from her childhood as a war orphan in Sierra Leone. I got out of a terrible place, says DePrince. I had no idea I would be here. I'm living my dream every single day. She was born in Sierra Leone in 1995. For a little context, I was born in 1995, so she's only 25 years old right now. So this is really recent. Her parents named her Mabinti, but after they both died during the Civil War, she was sent to an orphanage where she became a number. So both parents died, has no family, gets sent to an orphanage. They named us from 1 to 27, she recalls. One of the favorite child of the orphanage. Oh, sorry, 1 was the favorite child of the orphanage, and 27 was the least favorite. DePrince was number 27 because she suffers from vitiligo, which is a condition in which patches of skin lose pigmentation. Have you guys ever seen someone with vitiligo? It's a really hard word to say. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, but not in person.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in person either. But it's basically like anybody can have it. So we all have the color of our skin, right? Whether it's white, black, brown, whatever color it is, it has a certain color to it. And vitiligo basically loses that color. So you see it like my hand could have patches of really, really white skin, whiter than I am. So it loses the color in their skin. It's really noticeable usually in people's faces. You see it a lot there. But it basically just is a discoloration of the skin. It doesn't do anything bad. It's just that their skin has different patches of different colors every once in a while. So she had that skin, or has that skin condition. It doesn't go away. To the aunties who ran the orphanage, it was evidence of the evil spirit within the 3-year-old. She still recalls the fierce antagonism of the women. So we talked about the word antagonism. So if these people have fierce antagonism towards her, what does that mean? Think about the word antagonism over here on the right. So these women that are raising her at the orphanage have a fierce antagonism towards her. Do they like her? Yeah, they were mean to her. Good, Alex. They just They're super mean to her. They don't like her just because she has some different skin colorations, right? And it says, they thought of me as a devil's child. They told me every day how I wasn't going to get adopted because nobody wants a devil's child, she says. Although the other girls in the orphanage were encouraged not to play with her, DePrince formed a close friendship with number 26, so the second least favorite, also called Mabinti, who was disliked by the aunties because she was left-handed. So all because she was left-handed and wrote and did things with her left hand. They didn't like this other girl. The pair shared a sleeping mat, and at night, when Michaela had bad dreams, her mat mate would soothe her with kind words and stories. So they're just good friends, right? Her memories of early childhood are fragmentary, moments of piercing clarity which have reassembled in date order. She believes it was soon after witnessing the killing of her teacher that she stumbled upon something that was to shape the rest of her life, a discarded magazine. So the sentence right here, she stumbled upon something after she witnessed the killing of her teacher. That's a big moment, right? Can you imagine that at all? Like you're just in school and something happens to me or whatever teachers in your classroom? Like that would be kind of horrifying. I don't know about you guys, but I would not enjoy that moment, especially because I am the teacher. So that's a moment, and I'm pretty sure she's like 4 years old at this point. So she sees her teacher get killed, and then she finds a discarded magazine. On that magazine, there was a lady on it. She was on her tippy toes in this pink, beautiful tutu. I'd never seen anything like this, a costume that stuck out with glitter on it, with just so much beauty. I could just see the beauty in that person and the hope and the love and just everything that I didn't have. And I just thought, wow, this is what I want to be. So what did she see? What was that picture?
Hey, Robert. Sorry, that's my brother.
A ballerina, good. So definitely a ballerina on there, and she's like, wow, I want to do that. So DePrince ripped the photograph out of the magazine, and for the lack of anywhere else to stuff it, she stuffed it into her underwear. Great. One day, the orphanage was warned that it would be bombed, and the children were marched to a distant refugee camp. Here, DePrince learned that her beloved mat mate was to be adopted. So there's a lot that happened in that paragraph right there. One, the orphanage is going to be bombed. So the only place that she has any sort of home or friend or anything is going to be bombed. So they get marched off to a refugee camp, which is basically a camp where they keep people to attempt to keep them safe because their house has been destroyed and war has just taken over where they were living. And then she learned that the person that was her best friend, number 26, was going to get adopted, and she's not. So, an American woman, Elaine DePrince, had come to the camp to adopt number 26, now called Mia. For a moment, Michaela was distraught because she believed that all the other children would be taken to new homes and she would be left behind. So remember, this distraught feeling is just so sad and unhappy because she thinks that she's going to be left all alone. But abruptly, there was a change of plan. When the aunties told Elaine DePrince that Michaela was unlikely to find another home, she decided to adopt both girls, which is great. Michaela remembers struggling to understand what was happening. She was intoxicated by the American woman with her dazzling blonde hair, but there was something else on her mind, too. I was looking at people's feet because I thought everyone has to have ballet point shoes. They have to have point shoes because these are people from the U.S. So that's this concept of people that live in the United States having the most perfect life is something that a lot of foreign nations think of us, especially like third world type countries, people that are really at war or don't have a lot of stability in their countries. They look to the United States as like, it's what they call the American dream, people having the best life here. But we live here. We know that that's not necessarily true for everyone, right? Not everybody lives the American dream and has the most perfect life. I can think of quite a few people that don't. So it's not always the best, but that's okay. Not every country is perfect. Then it says, not only was Elaine not wearing any point shoes, but as Michaela found when she looked through her suitcase that night, she had none in her luggage either. Her new mother quickly noticed Michaela's obsession with ballet. We found a Nutcracker video and I watched it 150 times, Michaela says. When they finally went to see a stage performance, she was able to point out her mother the places where dancers had missed their steps. Elaine enrolled 5-year-old Michaela in the Rock School of Dance in Philadelphia, making the 45-minute drive from New Jersey every day. But DePrince remained a shy girl, painfully self-conscious of her vitiligo. This was all I would think about when I was on stage. I had trouble looking at myself in the mirror, she says. Instead of glorifying the glittery tutus and bodices that had drawn her to ballet, she covered herself up with whatever possible turtleneck sweaters. One day, DePrince asked one of her ballet teachers if she thought her skin condition might hold her back in her career. The teacher asked her what she was talking about. She hadn't even noticed the pale patches on her skin. She'd just been watching her steps, and that was a significant moment for her. But, she says, being a black ballet dancer is hard, even in the US. She thinks the problem is that in the Corps de Ballet, the group of ballerinas who are not soloists, girls are supposed to look the same. It is a challenge, she says. If you look at ballet companies, you won't really see any black girls. You might see a mixed race girl, but there are only 1 or 2 black soloists in the whole US. And now, DePrince, who's 17 when this was written, she's 25 now, but this was written 8 years ago. DePrince recently completed a tour with the Dance Theater of Harlem, many of whose dancers are African American or mixed race. I've become more upbeat. I used to be very shy, she says. Now I've grown up and I'm so happy with the way things are turning out. Alrighty. That's the story. How'd you guys like it? Good? Eh? Bad? Enjoy it? Better than the Declaration of the Rights of the Child?
It was good.
Yeah. I think this one's a little bit easier to read than the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. Kind of flows easier. So let's go ahead and look at that first read part on the right. So we're over on making meaning, first read, and then open up that chart like we have been doing before. And let's fill it out. First of all, let's write the title of the thing. It's Michaela DePrince, War, Orphan, whole thing. They don't make it easy to find. War orphan who became a ballerina. All right. There's the title. Okay, and then we have these couple of boxes to fill out. The first one is notice. So, what was it about and who? Okay, so take a minute to fill out what and who it was about. Hey, Skylar, we're working on a new story in on Google Classroom. It's called Michaela DePrince, so if you want to open that one up. We are on the first read section, so we just finished reading it. But go ahead and open that one up and start following along with us.
How do you spell Michaela?
It's right up here on my thing. Michaela. Okay, so we're getting the who and what is about. On the annotate part, try and find, let's say, highlight 2 important things in the text. Okay, so what are 2 things that you were like, oh, that's probably pretty important. That's a good part of the story. Highlight 2 of those. So I'll give you, let's say, 2 minutes to work on those top 2. about 1 more minute. Just who and what is involved in the notice box, and then annotating or highlighting 2 things that you thought were important in the story. Okay. All right, let's look at the connection box. So if we're down at the bottom, connect. This one says connect ideas within the selection that you already know and what you have already read. So we've read a couple of things about childhood. You are a child, so what connections can you make? Whether it's to your life or to books or the other stories we've read. Try and get maybe one connection here. How can you connect the story to anything else? Or maybe you think it connects to something that's going on in the world, like maybe a war somewhere else that you could mention. Okay, I'll give you a minute on that one. How are we doing? Keeping up still? Doing good? That was a puppy. All right. And then that last box, respond right here, says complete the comprehension check, which we're going to do in a minute, and then write a brief summary of the selection. So let's do 1 to 2 sentences that describe what happened in the story. Okay, so just 1 to 2 quick sentences that just describe the story so that you don't have to go back and reread the whole thing to relearn what it's about. What are you guys doing? Need 1 or 2 more minutes to finish up this chart? There's all the things you need for the chart. Once we finish up this chart, go ahead and just type down in the chat. Let me know. Once we got most of you guys, we'll go ahead and move along. Okay, we'll do about 2 more minutes, and then we will look at the next part. The next part is a video, and I'm not entirely sure we're going to be able to hear it, so we'll see. Maybe I'll just unplug the headphones for the video, and that'll be a way for you guys to hear it. Okay, about 30 more seconds. Let you guys finish up this chart. Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. If you need to finish this up later, totally fine. Just go ahead and go back to this section and you can retype in it later. Should save your work. So we've done the concept vocab on the right, first read on the right. I do want to do this media connection because there's a lot of, just because we're reading a story doesn't mean we can't also watch a video and connect the story to the video. So this video also talks about Michaela DePrince and her journey, and I think we get to see her do her ballet as well too. So while we're watching this video, I want you guys to just kind of be thinking about this, this question that I just highlighted. How does viewing this video add to your understanding of the difficulties that she faced as a child? We know she was a war orphan, so she grew up in a country that had a ton of war in it. We know that she was an orphan, so she didn't have parents, which is not easy to grow up without parents until she got adopted. And then we know that she had a skin condition as well that can be like kind of create an outcast sort of vibe in your life, which is not great. So we're gonna go ahead and watch this video. I'm gonna play it and see if you guys can hear it. If not, I'll unplug the headphones. But let's see. I started watching it earlier. It might be in the middle. Okay, can you guys hear it? Did you hear any of that? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna unplug the headphones and hopefully it'll work.
Better?
I don't hear nothing.
Alrighty. So now that we're there, let's go ahead and have you guys mute your mics for a minute, and then I will. We'll play the video, we'll watch it, and think about how it connects to the story we just read.
I was born in Sierra Leone during the Civil War. After I lost my parents, I was brought to an orphanage. During that time, I was about 4 years old. I found a magazine with an image of a ballerina on it. I didn't know exactly what it was back then, but it looked like a fairy to me. When I was younger, it was really hard for me to express myself with language, so I expressed myself while I was dancing. I was a very angry child, and I didn't understand why all those bad things had happened to me. I used to hold a grudge against the rebels for killing my father. Once I forgave them, I realized that it doesn't matter anymore. games. When I'm on stage, I'm in my own little world. It's my fairy tale. Ballet.
Alrighty. You guys still hear me? Good. Okay. Did that connect to anything else for you guys to the story? Give you any other ideas? Put these back on. There it goes.
So, what kind of things did it kind of give you more insight on about how she grew up? Can you guys hear me? Good. Good. She was angry. Yeah, we didn't really learn about that in the story. Any other ideas of other things it told us about her growing up?
She held a grudge against the people that killed her dad.
Hmm. I would too. I'd be pretty mad about that as well. So if we are back over on our media connection and we fill out our notebook, just a couple ideas of what watching that video gave us about the understanding of her childhood. So she was angry and held a grudge against the people who killed her father. And then if you have anything else you want to add in that box about your thoughts on the video, you're more than welcome. So I'll give you about a minute or two, fill out that part. Alrighty, about one more minute. Just go ahead and fill out that box. Then we'll look at our next section. I think that's going to be the last one we do today. I don't think we're going to have time for the last one. But that's all right. Maybe we'll fit it in at the beginning of tomorrow. Alrighty. If you need it, it'll be in the video later if you need to type this out at all. Oh, there's the bell. I'm going to close the media connection part. So we've talked about concept, vocab, first read, media connection. We're going to do the comprehension check right here. And this is going to be one of your graded assignments that I check over, so I'm not going to help you out too much with it. Just like we have been with all the other comprehension checks, just checking to make sure that you understood the details of the story. So we have number 1 right here. Why did the aunties at the orphanage dislike Michaela? And let's write a complete sentence there about why they didn't like her. As always, go back to the text, look through it if you need to, find that answer. It's up near the beginning. So you have a complete sentence for number 1. Number 2, another complete sentence. How did Michaela first learn about ballet and ballerinas? So what happened there and how did she learn about ballerinas and ballet? Do a complete sentence on that one. Number 3 there. How did Michaela finally get to leave the orphanage? We'll do a complete sentence again. Get the theme, complete sentences. Oh my. Good. And then number 4 is writing a brief. Confirm your understanding of the selection by writing a brief summary of what happened to Michaela after she left the orphanage. So I don't need to know about her childhood before when she was at the orphanage for number 4. Number 4, you're writing, let's say, 2 to 3 sentences about after she left the orphanage. Not before, when she was in Sierra Leone, but after she left the orphanage. What did she go through? So it's 9:20, we're done at 9:30, so I figure we'll just spend the rest of the time working on 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you're done, let me know and you can head out and I'll see you at math, but this is what we're gonna finish with, completing the comprehension check. Capiche? Sound good? Okay. So go ahead and be working on that. I'll be here if you need anything.